the grocery store. First, we have to buy some cereal and dishwashing soap. Where is it? Cereal box, cereal box. Aha! There it is! Is this the one you guys want? Yeah. In it goes. Oh look, there's the dishwashing soap. Oh, let me add some biscuits too. Okay, now all we need is cheese. The one I'm looking for comes in a packet. There it is.
Food deserts are defined by the USDA as urban neighborhoods and rural towns, without ready access to fresh, healthy, and affordable food. People living in a food desert often have no food access or are served only by fast food restaurants and convenience stores that offer few healthy, affordable food options. In order for a community to be considered a food desert, they must first qualify as a low-income community, meaning they either have a poverty rate of 20% or greater, or a median family income at or below 80% of the area median family income, and at least 500 people or 33% of the population must live at least 1 mile from a supermarket or a grocery store. However, these qualifications do not include many urban communities that struggle with food scarcity. In communities where grocery outlets are widely unavailable, people often have to travel long distances outside of their own neighborhood in order to find stores with nutritionally rich food. Since it is difficult for many residents to leave their community, the produce that is available in their area is often limited, low quality, and expensive. The communities most affected by food scarcity are primarily Latino and African American. In Baltimore, Maryland, for example, lack of food access disproportionately affects African Americans compared to Caucasians. These same disparities are seen more close to home as well. Oakland, California has a large economic and racial gap when looking at food inequality. East Oakland, specifically Castlemont, a low-income neighborhood consisting of 39% Latinos and 49.9% African Americans, is considered a food desert by the USDA. This area has an unemployment rate of 9.6%, with 31.5% of families living in poverty. In comparison, Piedmont, a neighborhood in North Oakland Hills, with an overall population of only 4.6% Blacks and Latinos, only has an unemployment rate of 3% and 1.4% of families living in poverty. Even within the same city, these large racial and economic gaps are evident, and it is the marginalized communities who are negatively impacted by the lack of resources available for them.
High blood pressure and diabetes run in my family.
My brother has asthma pretty bad.
I was 15 years old and I was like, I got type 2 diabetes.
Nobody can tell me that this is something that's genetic.
There ain't no fruit for the next 6, 7 blocks.
It's really deserted as far as what you need, like the necessities you need as a human being.
When healthy food is not available to individuals, it can lead to a number of health concerns, many of which already disproportionately affect the most vulnerable populations. Heart disease, diabetes, and obesity all affect African American and Hispanic or Latino communities at far higher rates than white communities. According to the American Diabetes Association, the risk of diabetes is 77% higher among African Americans and 66% higher among Latino Americans than white Americans. Similarly, African Americans with diabetes are 1.5 times more likely to be hospitalized and 2.3 times more likely to die from diabetes than whites. Latino Americans are 1.5 times more likely to die from diabetes than whites. Extreme obesity also disproportionately affects these populations. 76% of African Americans and 78.8% of Hispanics are either overweight or obese, while only 66.7% of whites are diagnosed as such.
I'm from East Oakland.
I grew up in West Oakland.
There's just nothing out here.
I shouldn't have to leave my home to be a healthier person.
We know that there is a large difference in life expectancy based on where you live in the county. A child who is born in Piedmont versus a child who's born in Castlemont is likely to live on average 13 years longer.
In Oakland, the disparity of Castlemont residents and Piedmont residents reflects the wide gaps in nutrition-related disease regarding whites and non-whites. As a result, residents of Castlemont have a life expectancy 12 years shorter than those living in the nearby neighborhood of Piedmont. So why should we care? The reality of food deserts is that they are not in some faraway place. They are people within our own Bay Area community that struggle with food disparity on a regular basis. When people don't have access to nutritionally substantial food, it takes an immense toll on their health. In these large debates surrounding the lack of health care for economically disadvantaged communities, we should also be looking at the lack of preventative measures being taken in these same communities. If marginalized neighborhoods had better access to healthy food, there would be less concern surrounding the treatment of diseases such as obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. The best medicine is prevention, and we can only prevent these problems by making healthy, affordable food available to everyone.